at that time, when the Kremlin provoked an oil war with Saudi Arabia, by initiating the collapse of the OPEC deal, the war of which it had already lost in all directions. As a result of this war, the price of oil went to around $25 per barrel, but in fact it's sold even cheaper now, and the whole blogger has huge discounts, which sometimes reach almost half the price of oil, from $10 per barrel. In this regard, the Kremlin was forced to take a desperate step, with the help of its Iranian friends, unfortunately, as last year decided to use the Yemeni Hussites to attack the Saudis, their deposits and oil refineries. Let me remind you that in September 2019, the Yemeni Hussites launched an attack on Saudi Aramco, the largest oil refinery in Saudi Arabia. And also the Hussites carried out a series of terrorist attacks against the Saudi oil tankers, which led them to a complete halt of shipping in the Red Sea, thus provoking an increase in oil prices, which, in turn, was very beneficial to the Kremlin. So now, the Kremlin decided not to come up with new ways to solve this problem. How to do the same with the hands of Yemeni Hussites, in the hope of influencing oil price quotes by raising them. But while this was done as the last act of complete powerlessness, as the Saudis learned a good lesson from the previous attack, and strengthened their air defense systems, which bore fruit, the Hussites hit Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, with 2 brilliant missiles, and 1 missile at the port city of Jazan, which is located in the south of the kingdom near the border of Yemen. Saudi Arabia's new, more advanced air defense systems have successfully intercepted all of these ballistic missiles. P.S. This is not the first and also will not be the last attack of the Hussites, not Saudis. In the hope of helping their distant northern friend, every time Volker has any problems with the price of oil, or with anything else, he uses up his connections. Moreover, with the latest failure, in the near future, with a high probability, a new, more large-scale attack will be launched. I won't be surprised that Iran will also be actively connected to this whole story, which can also repeat its last year's exploits in the Persian Gulf itself. Blow up an oil tanker. The Kremlin had no time to move away from the defeat inflicted by the Turks in Syria in the province of Idlib, and move away from the double-occurring incident the other day, where he lost just 2 military aircraft in a place with crews in one day, the L-39 in the Kuban and the Su-27 in the Black Sea. In Libya, the Turks, along with government forces, captured almost a Russian military base, which was used for deployment by the mercenaries of the rebel General Haftar and Putin's private military company, Wagner. What, after all, the official government of Libya, located in Tripoli, has long stated that against the backdrop of the approaching world pandemic of the coronavirus, constantly arriving all sorts of mercenaries of the supportive rebellious General Haftar will bring this disease into the country and so weakened by the war. So, the Turks, as real anti-epidemiological structures, cleared this territory from this deadly bacillus called coronavirus. Naturally, they cleaned her along with her inhabitants, Putin's mercenaries. Yes, they so zealously cleaned up, including with the help of their shock drums already renowned in Syria, that the paths of Nayat and Haftar at sea were draped in such a way that their bast shoes were flying off. They were running to their eyes, throwing equipment and weapons at this strategic military base. As a result of the seizure of the airbase, Turkish and pro-government Libyan forces got considerable trophies, dozens of tanks and 6 aircraft, including Russian ones. P.S. In the United States, the losses of Putin's expeditionary forces in Syria were calculated, namely aviation. They counted 19 helicopters and planes lost by Putin's Russia in Syria. According to the Russian Federation itself, from 2015 to 2018, Putin's Russia lost 19 manned vehicles in the region. Of these, 11 are helicopters, and 8 planes, which led to the death of 23 crew members and 37 passengers. The Americans emphasized in the report that losses were possible due to the inexperience of Putin's military and expeditionary operations, where Syrian rebels practically shot down Putin's falcons with sticks and stones. Also among the causes are problems with the equipment and its maintenance. Well, of course. What did you want from the old Soviet roulette? I'll add that the losses of the Russian aerospace forces were much greater. For some reason, the Americans considered exclusively combat losses, not taking into account non-military losses that occurred due to growing hands from the AS, and there were many such cases.